The Power of Subconscious Mind, you must have read a book from Joseph Murphy, and how we can use and tap the power of subconscious mind using a technology called NLP. This is a concept of this webinar. I would start with the name of the people who have been instrumental in bringing up this technology around 40-45 years back. The names are Dr. John Grinder and Richard Bandler. Dr. John Grinder was a professor in California University, and Richard Bandler was also a research scholar in psychology. John Grinder had an experience of linguistics, and they started working together on a very important concept, which they were just really trying to find out that if anybody in this world can do something, can somebody else also replicate that? And during this study, there were a couple of people who were extremely important to describe, like Virginia Satir, Fritz Perls, and Milton Erickson. These guys were therapists in their own areas. Virginia Satir was a therapist in US, and she was known for family therapies. Fritz Perls was a German psychotherapist and psychoanalyst. And there was Milton Erickson. He had got some amazing capabilities as a therapist. So we'll be discussing about Milton Erickson as well. So there had been a lot of concept of hypnosis and other psychological concepts, but they have given it more a practical approach so that we can use the techniques and the tools, and we can get the results instantly. So now, as I told you that these two guys were working along with a discussion group in California University, where they were just trying to find out, is it possible that if somebody has a genius, if somebody is an expert of something, that other person can also replicate that, they can also inculcate that qualities in them? Is it possible? And they were really working on that. Like, there are people who have got extraordinary time management skills. Some of them have extraordinary business acumen. Some have a lot of patience. Some are extraordinary energetic. Some are really aggressive. Some are good decision makers. So there are different aspects every individual has got. The whole concept was to transfer this good skill or the genius of somebody to somebody else through modeling. And this modeling, as we know, is not a new concept. We have been using this concept right from the birth, the time we were born. We learned the language by modeling. And that is why it's easiest to learn your mother tongue, because you have a whole environment around you and you are able to listen to that and model it through the people around you. And that's why if you want to learn some other new language, the best way is to go to that country, stay there for some time. You'll be learning that language very fast. Similarly, we learn how to speak, the way we speak, the way we talk, the way we walk, everything from the environment, from the parents, from the brothers and sisters, and from the people around us. Even the habits we derive from them. So now the point is that everything was being done subconsciously. Can we consciously do something about it? So because it's been said that if somebody in this world can do something, then anybody can do it. But in reality, at times we struggle into doing that, right? Now, this is going to give us the kind of tools and techniques which can just create a change in our states, our emotions, to bring in the necessary change in ourselves. And we have been quite lucky in having a team which has been trained by the co-founder of NLP, Dr. Richard Bandler. So that's been a real advantage. Now, I would just ask you a couple of questions. How many of you do you want to really double your income? Just type yes for whatever you think is relevant to you. All right. Improve your state of mind. Heal yourself and improve your relationships. So these are some very important aspects of our life, and I am getting the response. Everybody of us want to really increase our income. They want more money in life. They want better relationship. They want to heal themselves and remain healthy always. And they also want a very good state of mind. But these are some things which are really, really important in our life to live an abundant life. And when we talk about an abundant life means we have everything in sufficient quantity that can give us happiness, that can give us peace of mind. So anything which we want in our life in a sufficient quantity, which can give us peace of mind and satisfaction and happiness, is abundance for us. And it's well said that the universe is always abundant. Universe doesn't have scarcity of anything. Universe never has any scarcity. And even thinking about, I am against a concept of saving water, or we say that save water because we are scared of water. No, we are not scared of water. We are not using in the right way. So it's not about that we have any scarcity. It's all about how we are using our resources. Okay, so these are a couple of things which we require to live an abundant life, and I think every one of us want these things in our life. So here comes the role of our mind. The mind, which is an instrument, it's a very important instrument which controls our body, or whether we can say our body is an instrument of mind. So whatever instructions our mind gives, the body functions, the body obeys and completes that function. But in this whole mind concept, we have conscious mind, the pre-conscious or subconscious mind, we can call them as same, and an unconscious mind. What we generally know about most of the time is the conscious mind. The conscious mind, as the picture implies, is just the tip of the iceberg. That is, only 10% of the total functionality that we do is being taken care by the conscious mind. Whereas the subconscious mind is very deep down, and it is almost taking care of our 90% of our activities. Whereas when we talk about the unconscious mind is either which is inaccessible to us, or it is like a body, the person in a coma, where the person has no conscious at all. Even we call, and J.C. Bose in his research found that even the trees have a little consciousness, but they are in a state of unconsciousness. So this is where the unconscious works. So these are the three different mind state, and what these mind states are used for. Let's understand that. You must have heard many times, or even read into books, that a normal human being utilizes only 5 to 10% of the total mind capacity that a human being has. Only 5 to 10%. And if we say that we are using only 5 to 10% of the mind capacity, right, then what's happening with the rest of it? What's happening with it? Like, what's happening with the 90% of it? Don't we know how to access that capacity, access that consciousness? That's the question. So that's a reality, because most of the time we are doing most of our activity consciously with the conscious mind, which is only 10%. So what does it do? Let us understand that. Yeah, so conscious mind is analyzing the mind, which is analyzing all the things. So it is more of analytical mind, and it has more focus on thinking and planning, and it is a short-term memory. In the computer concept, we can say it is the RAM, which has got the short-term memory. So it majorly works when we have to take a decision, when we have to think, plan. These are the things which we do through our conscious mind. But most of our body reflexes and most of the activities that we do it through the subconscious mind, and that's why it is called using 90% of our total workforce. So our long-term memory, where we keep and store all our resources for a long time, is into subconscious mind. Our emotions and feelings are driven by subconscious. Even our habits, whatever we do not do it consciously, it just happens. If we have a habit of speaking in a certain way, we have a certain voice, we do not create that voice, it is already embedded. We cannot change it very frequently. Our relationship pattern, how we manage it. Then addictions, involuntary body functions, we can say, even our eating, walking, running, whatever we do, blinking of eyes, all these involuntary functions which we do not do consciously. Our creativity is also subconscious. And the developmental stages, like when we grow from a small single cell to a old person, the entire development stages is driven through subconscious mind. Our spiritual connection, intuitions, even the telepathy and deja vu, all those concepts are a result of spiritual subconscious mind. So when we are doing anything, we are driven all through the subconscious mind, because our beliefs, our creativity, our intuitions, our memory, all is there in the subconscious mind. And hypnosis can be used to access, hypnosis, meditation, and access consciousness. These are the methods through which we can access this part of the mind. But generally, in our schools and colleges, we are all being taught to be more, analytical, calculative, plan the things well, but rarely we are taught how to access and make transformation in the subconscious part of the mind, which has got tremendous capabilities. When we say conscious and subconscious mind was always created to be a servant or to support the conscious mind in delivering its activities. But slowly and gradually, as more of the activities are governed by the subconscious mind, it takes control and becomes the masters. So slowly and gradually, we become the slave of our mind. We become the servant of our subconscious mind. Then the subconscious mind starts driving us rather than we driving or commanding the subconscious mind. Let me give you an example. We write. We do not think and write, we just write it. But initially, when we learned how to write an alphabet, we started to learn that with a lot of efforts. Even to write a letter A, it took us almost 7-8 days to make the lines in the right way. So initially, it takes too much effort to learn anything new, to create your own signature while you sing, your voice, your tonality, and the knowledge of the right chords. When you play some music, you play some instrument, or you paint, you do not think about it that how to put the fingers on the string and how to play the chords. You don't do it consciously, it just happens. But when we start to learn it, initially we have to do a lot of efforts, a lot of practice. And that is why I say that the mind programming is done through practice or through repetition. So if you repeat anything continuously for a long time, then slowly and gradually you become programmed for it. And when it becomes a program, that is a permanent thing. So you speak your voice, your vocabulary, the words that you speak, the way you speak, your accent, the way you walk, the way you run, your gestures and postures of body, your body language, your emotional state, your habits, your beliefs, the way you eat, dance, you blink your eyes, you hear, taste, smell, everything is being governed by the subconscious mind. And initially, we start doing it consciously, but when we keep repeating it again and again, it becomes a subconscious pattern. Say, for example, when we started learning driving, initially we have to put a focus on the accelerator, brake, and clutch. Slowly and gradually, it becomes a part of our involuntary movements. And after a couple of months of practice, then it becomes so easy and effortless for us to drive a car that we can do multiple things at a time. We can do multitasking. We can listen to music. We can talk to somebody sitting beside us. We can drive as well. So we can do multiple things because now it has become an exe file and it has got into the executable area, which it doesn't require any platform. It doesn't require any external efforts to do all these things. So how does this get programmed? Let me take you to a story. And this is an experiment which has been done. There was a big aquarium, and in this aquarium, they introduced a shark into it. But before they introduced a shark, they created a glass partition in between. So there was a glass partition in the center of that aquarium, and on one side they put a lot of small fishes. On the one other side they put one shark. So when that as soon as the shark saw the small fishes, it just try to capture some of them, but it failed because there was a glass partition and it could not cross that. It banged on that glass partition and got hurt. It did it couple of times. Every time it did it, it banged on that glass partition and it failed. But when it happened many times, slowly and gradually, the shark got programmed and it understood that whatever I do, I'll not be able to reach these small fishes. I'll not be able to eat them because every time I go there, there is something which stops me and doesn't allow me to reach up to these fishes. So they are inaccessible. So slowly and gradually, that shark got programmed and it started revolving around in its own area and never it tried to cross that barrier. After some time, this glass partition was removed. And when this glass partition was removed, an amazing thing was observed that even after the glass partition was removed, the small fishes were moving around in their own area and the shark was moving in its own area. Neither the shark was trying to cross its limit, nor the small fishes were coming in this area because both of them got programmed. And that's why we call that we create a Lakshman Rekha of our beliefs of our own mind. We create a Lakshman Rekha by deciding that what we can do, what we can't do, what do you like, what you don't like, what you want to become and what you don't want to become. But believe me, when we say this, that I can do this, I can't do this, or I like this, I don't like this, we have no logic. Because I can connect you to the story of Milkha Singh. You must have watched the movie Bhag Milkha Bhag. And you must have seen in that movie that the first time Milkha Singh ran, he did not run for becoming the fastest runner or to be the to break the records, national or international record. That was not the purpose. The purpose was just to get some relaxation from extensive workouts and to get some extra diet. That was the whole purpose. But during that exercise, it is the first time that Milkha Singh and the other people recognized that he's a extremely good athlete and a runner. And that was the time he actually identified his core skills. अगर ऐसा उसकी लाइफ में नहीं हुआ होता, probably he would have never tried it. So what we say that, some people say, I like blue, I like yellow color, this is my favorite color, this is not my favorite color, whatever. So how did they come to know that this is their favorite color or this is not their favorite color? Is through the experiences that they had in the past. Probably when they must have put up some specific color of dress, maybe blue, and when they went out, a lot of people complimented them, and when they complimented them, every time the person started thinking, I look good in blue, and that's why I should take up more blue. Or maybe at times when you wear some of the dresses, you feel extremely confident, you feel good from inside. So your internal feelings also help you to decide what you like to do and what you don't like to do. But the reality is that these limits are very temporary, and they are being created by our own mind. They have no reality. But definitely belief is something which is the biggest reality for that person. So if somebody believes that I like this color, I like to do this, then that means, yes, that's true for that person, but not for the others. So everybody can have their own different beliefs. And then we start getting programmed right from the day we are born. And the time we started taking hold of our senses, we started seeing, we started listening, tasting, and so on and so forth. So from the very time we started getting programmed from our external references. So who helps to program us? Our past experiences. If we do something and we fail, we stop doing it again and again, and we think it's not my cup of tea. At times we are prejudiced. Media helps us to program it, right? So right now in the corona time, media has really played an extreme role in driving the negative fear in the minds of the people. Friends and peers, yes, we learn the habits, the language, the a lot of things from our friends and peers, and that's why we say the friends and books should be few and good. So it's extremely important that what kind of friends do you have. If you have good friends, if you have got very sensible friends and books, then definitely it's going to help you in growing. Your parents, yes, your parents are the biggest resource. So I would say if you are a parent, then it is extremely important, because almost 100% kids are born intelligent and genius, but 99% of them become average because we create them by telling them what you are not good at, what you can't do. And that's why by repeating this again and again, we program their mind and make them average or below average at times. Our coaches and teachers also play an extremely important role in our life. So all these things help us to program. Now let me give you an example how a person gets programmed. So in one of our workshops, there was because whenever we do a workshop, we ask for the personal mental blocks and the things which they want to achieve in their life and all that in their form. So in that form, he has mentioned that I have a fear of public speaking. But when he was there in the workshop, he was sounding to be quite confident, and ऐसा लग नहीं रहा था कि उनको कोई भी fear of public speaking हो सकता है. So when he came in contact with us in the workshop, he said, "Sir, I have a fear of public speaking." Now we said that he was working in a corporate and very extremely impressive personality. We said it doesn't sound as if you have a fear of public speaking. What happened in the past? And we tried to know his past, and we came to know that when he was in 6th or 7th standard, he was an extremely good student, and he got an opportunity to recite a poem in one of the function. When he went on the stage, don't know what happened, but he was not able to utter a single word, and he was just so nervous that he couldn't speak at all. So this was a very big panic attack to him. And at the same time, after the failure, a lot of teachers told him, because we have a lot of expectations from you, what did you do? So all this turned up to a very bad experience in his life, and he believed and he started feeling, this is not my cup of tea, I'll not be able to do it. Now this is very important. This workshop was not a public speaking workshop, and we did not teach him how to speak in public. But what we did is we removed that part of the fear and that part of the memory which was bothering him all the time. And after the workshop, maybe after 1 or 2 months, he sent us a video, and he was extremely happy and delighted on the WhatsApp group. And he shared, "Sir, there was an international workshop, and I was one of the participants in that, and we were supposed to give a group presentation, and I was the main lead speaker in that group presentation, and our group presentation got the first prize, and my speech was widely appreciated." So here is a very important learning, that we did not teach him how to speak in public. We did not teach him any skills. The only thing which we helped him to do is we removed that part of the fear, and he was on its own. So basically he was prejudiced. He already created a belief that I can't do it. But the moment we removed and we made a little transformation in his own personal beliefs, immediately he started performing. And that is why we say that your beliefs and your thinking build your attitude. So if you have specific values and if you have specific beliefs, that is building your attitude, which we call as your behavior, which is visible, which the people see, and your internal feelings, which is again invisible. All these things, your attitude and your behavior finally helps you to take your action. And when you take an action, you get your results that determine your results finally. So if there is a problem in your belief, or if there is a problem in your thought process, that won't allow you to take the right action at the right time. And if you do not take the right action at the right time, you will not get the right results. And if you want to take the right actions, then you'll have to make a little change in the internal world. And that's why we say, if you want to make a change in the external world, you have to make a change in your internal world. What is an internal world and what is an external world? If you want, when I'm talking about results, say for example, you want more wealth in your life, that's an external thing. What you're going to do? Of course, you're going to do job, business, whatever you want to do, whatever way you want to earn money, but you will have to make changes in the internal emotional system, internal beliefs, internal values, internal attitude. And all these will reflect in the form of your results. If you want better relationship, you have found that meri friend and people, I can't trust people, then these conditions can be changed only by changing in the internal system. So here comes the role of the neurological pathways. You must have seen a pathway in the grassland. If there is a grassland, what happens is, if through that grass, when the first person passes, it just presses that grass and create a way through that grassland. Slowly and gradually that becomes a permanent way, and people following the person will start following the same path, and they also take the same path. Slowly and gradually उस area की जो घास होती है, वो पूरी तरीके से दब जाती है या वहां से पूरी तरीके से घास खत्म हो जाती है। हिंदी में हम उसको पगडंडी भी बोलते हैं। तो एक छोटा सा कच्चा सा रास्ता बन जाता है। सो देयर इज a small pathway is created through that grassland. Slowly and gradually that becomes more predominant, and then it becomes a regular path of movement for the people. This is how a neurological pathway is also created in mind. Say if a new condition comes in your life, maybe a pressure condition where you have to handle a pressure, then you are going to use your own resources, you going to use your capabilities to handle that specific condition. And you will be using all different methods that you have, you must have learned. You will be using different methods. Something will work, something may not work. So whatever works, whatever gives you success, that becomes your that becomes your natural flair, that becomes your habit, that becomes your natural way to deal with that particular situation, and that becomes a neurological pathway. But see how neurological pathways work. We were doing a workshop in Vadodara, and there was a lady, and she was like a little bulky, I mean a little fat, having a little more weight, and she wanted to lose weight, right? And at the same time she was very fond of eating sweets. She always knew that I want to get rid of these sweets, but she was like she was not able to get rid of it. And in her office everybody knew she is very fond of chocolates and rasgullas, so they used to keep a bowl, and she was not able to resist, and she was every time she was eating it. So when she came into the workshop, she said, "Sir, I want to get rid of this, but I'm not able to resist it." So what we did is, we took her to a new experience where that rasgulla was having a different fragrance. The fragrance was like rotten onion. And we also took her to certain bad experiences, connected to some bad experiences, where she's having this rasgulla. And believe me, after 15 minutes, we specially ordered a bowl, I mean, half a kg of rasgullas from the market, and we offered her, and she was running. She was just running away. She just didn't want to have a single. She was not, even feeling like having it. Why? Because then there was a change in the neurological pathways. So न्यूरोलॉजिकल पाथवेज को हम एक ऐसे एग्जांपल से समझ सकते हैं कि एक स्विच है, एक वायर है और एक बल्ब है। तो अगर एक स्विच से हम एक वायर के थ्रू एक बल्ब को कनेक्ट करेंगे तो एवरी टाइम हम ये स्विच को दबाएंगे तो सेम बल्ब जलेगा। ऐसा कभी नहीं होगा कि स्विच एक दबाया और बल्ब कोई दूसरा जल गया, बिकॉज देयर इज अ वायर कनेक्टेड टू द बल्ब। बट इफ यू वांट टू ग्लो अनदर बल्ब, then we'll have to connect this wire to another bulb, and this time from the same switch we will be able to glow another bulb. What that means? That means if you want to change the results, you will have to change the internal wiring, and if you do the rewiring, you will start getting a change in your results. And that's why we say doing the same things again and again and expecting different results is nothing but insanity. So if you want different results in your life, you will have to do different things. You'll have to do the things differently. And that is where NLP comes into the role. Neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro means our neurology. That includes our 5 senses, our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, and our ego. So all that constitutes our neurology. That includes brains and nerves and all that. Linguistic is the language that we use to communicate with our mind and with the minds of others. So it is the language which we use for self-talk, the language which we use to talk to others. And programming, as the word implies, is to create a program or an algorithm which can help an input to get an output. So programming is something which we do it in our mind. So neuro-linguistic programming, as the name implies, is programming our neurology using a language. and it can be used in every part of our life, in relations improvement, in building up self confidence. So time management, you'll say, how can NLP or the subconscious mind can be used to manage time? Yes, we'll understand that concept. Changing lifestyle, managing stress, maximizing performance of your life, overcoming fears and phobias, taking better decisions, making success strategies. In every part of the life, you will be able to use subconscious mind and NLP. And that's why Einstein once said that everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. So, what Albert Einstein says makes a lot of sense. Whatever we want in our life, whatever conditions we want uh, our life to have, what we are going to do, we have to create a reality and match the frequency of our thoughts to that. And how that thoughts will manifest reality, thought is a frequency. It is vibrating at a particular megahertz. So there are different thoughts at different frequencies. And it is a law that everything is energy, and energy can never be created nor be transformed nor be destroyed, but can be transformed from one form to another. That's all. Okay, it's all energy. अब मैं इसको आपको एक बहुत इजी एग्जांपल से समझा देता हूं. There is a water vapor and ice. All the three are reality. They are the same molecules vibrating at different frequencies. So if a molecule of water vibrates at a different frequency, it becomes ice, and if it vibrates at another frequency, it becomes a water vapor, right? It changes its form, but if you cool down the vapor, it will become water, and if you just freeze that water, becomes ice again. So vice versa. So it can be done. So it just transforms from one form to another. Similar is our thought. Our thought is also a frequency. And when we start emitting that frequency through our mind, it starts resonating with the frequencies of which already are existing in the universe. And that resonance will, transform that energy into matter. And finally, that matter will come into our life in the form of events and people. इसका मतलब ये हुआ, मैंने कुछ सोचा तो मैंने एक फ्रीक्वेंसी पे कुछ वाइब्रेशंस रिलीज किए, जो भी यूनिवर्स में सेम फ्रीक्वेंसीज के वाइब्रेशंस हैं उन्होंने रेजोनेट किया, और वो मेरी लाइफ में लोगों के फॉर्म में और इवेंट्स के फॉर्म में आने लग जाते हैं. तो कई बार हम सोचते हैं कि मैं तो ये नहीं चाहता हूं कि मेरी जिंदगी में आए, पर मेरी जिंदगी में बार बार दुख क्यों आ रहे हैं, मेरी जिंदगी में परेशानी क्यों आ रही है, why I'm coming across such kind of consequences in my life. And here come the power of visuals.